Welcome, Matt, to Impact the World. I was just saying to you, it's been so long that we have been in and around each other's orbit, doing similar work in the same field and many mutual friends. So it's really fantastic to get to meet you today in person for the first time.
Oh, thanks so much. I've been looking forward to meeting you for many years, and we've been orbiting each other's fields, and finally the inevitable encounter has happened. So it's truly equally an honor for me to be here with you.
Ah, it's funny because I remember it was probably 2008, 2008, maybe 2009, when I think I first became aware of you, unless it was a little later that you started. But one of the things that hit me when I was tuning in on some of your videos this morning in prep to speak to you today is, whether you frame it this way or not, I'm not sure, but it's really channeled what you do. So my experience of watching you on camera is, he's channeling this transmission, he's channeling this topic.
Yeah.
And I was curious, for my own interest, how your experience of these messages that you bring out to so many people around the world, mostly through video, how they come through you and how you experience it.
It's a real interesting story, just because I've learned as I've gone along. So when I started doing the work I was compelled to do, which, I never sought out to do the spiritual work because I didn't even know it existed. I was a performer my whole life since I was 10. And looking back, everything I've done has prepared me for what I do. But I was always very spiritually oriented, and I was very much the most comfortable and at home on stage. And when I started doing what I was doing, which was just being compelled by spirit to tell someone something, and then I would get in front of audiences and could do the same thing, like a reading with an entire group as one group soul. People would say, "Oh, you're a channel." And I would look into channeling, going, "I guess I'm a channel." And I kind of just learned as I went along. I would see people doing trance channeling, which, if that's the gift inside of you, that's wonderful. For me, I've always watched myself and what I do, and my form of channeling is more of what I would call an embodied channel, where spirit is not sliding my personality aside and bringing through something else. It's actually coming through the embodiment of my personality. So when I'm on stage and I'm channeling a teaching, and then in that split second, the universe wants to stop and help people integrate, and then I'll do a joke. But it's not Matt Kahn really wants to tell a joke. It's spirit is creating a joke to foster a moment of integration for whatever clearing and activation has just happened. And over the years, I've just began to realize that when I speak, there's an energy that comes through me. When I write, there's an encodement of energy. And I've really just learned as I've gone along. And I've just learned by watching myself and watching my interactions with people and just kind of going, okay, I'm a channel, but this is a different kind of channeling, and just kind of going with it and just, from the intention of really wanting to serve people and loving watching people heal and wanting people to have the most incredible experiences in the most immediate amount of time. And so really, this is all just fulfilling my love of service.
So what was the stage side for you when you were younger? Because you said that you kind of grew up on stage. What were you doing?
My goodness. So when I was 10 years old and I had this pull to perform, and I told my parents, and they took me to a local community theater, and I auditioned for a Ray Bradbury play. And I never done an audition, didn't know what to do. They just said, do this, do that. And I booked the lead role. And so now I'm the lead in the play. I have no idea what acting is. I'm just doing what people tell me to do. Stand here, do this. And then from there, I was in a singing and dancing group of all things. I used to be if I say this, people are going to laugh because they wouldn't expect. I used to be a hip hop dancer when I was a kid.
Oh, that's great.
And so, when it was Hammer Time.
That's great. You need to incorporate that, Matt, I think. You need to bring that back into some of these videos.
The next book launch is going to be Hammer Time. And so I was staying at my friend's house, and he was in this jazz and singing group. And I said, I don't know jazz. I'm a hip hop dancer. He says, just go to the audition, stand in line, and just copy what you see. And I did. And I got into the group, and for 5 years, I had 2 hours of vocal training and 2 hours of dance training twice a week. And I'd perform with this group at Disneyland, 4 hours a week for me to realize I'm not a singer.
Right.
I'm not fighting for solos, but I was a really good dancer and performer. And I got to perform in the Super Bowl halftime show with Michael Jackson, which was a rather life-changing experience. I mean, he was one of my idols growing up. So, and when I was in front of like 300,000 people, it was probably the most comfortable I've ever been in my life. And so it gave me this feeling of performing is my home. And so I was an actor. Improv was where I excelled because I'm a channel, which I didn't know at the time. And I did a couple commercials and got out of acting. And then when the spiritual stuff really started like activating, I was able to look back and go, oh, the performance was just getting me comfortable in front of people. And I just didn't realize it was building for something else. And I started, giving readings. And well, the first thing that actually happened was I would go to the grocery store and Spirit would tell me to tell people things like, tell this person their deceased grandmother says blah, blah, blah. And they'd have this huge breakthrough. And I had no idea what I was doing, but it felt good to just serve people. And if I didn't say what was coming through me, it felt like I was about to have a heart attack.
So when that first happened, what was that like? Yeah. So because this is a random stranger in the grocery store. And
totally random.
When you first hear this voice, like, was there a moment when you're wondering what that is, or?
Well, when I was 8, I had, or 8 or 6 or 8, it's hard for me to remember what age. When I was a kid, I had this out-of-body experience and I went to heaven and I met what I later realized was Jesus. And there was such a love in that experience that I still remember to this day. You carry this feel with you. For anyone that's been touched by the light of heaven, it's a certain vibration of love you can't shake. Like I still carry it like it happened yesterday. And so when my guide started speaking to me, it immediately came with that familiar heavenly vibration. So I immediately knew, trust this. And there was also part of me that was listening to make sure the content was trustworthy and not. Because, in the back of your mind, I think it's really healthy to kind of question things.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
I think it's very healthy.
So I wasn't being compelled to tell people ridiculous things. It was just loving, beautiful remembrances. And I'm in, by the oranges saying to someone, look, I know this is going to sound crazy. I have to deliver this message from Spirit or else I'm going to have a heart attack. So you can run away from me, but let me just say this. And then they would have this huge experience. And then my guides told me to go to this local spiritual bookstore and tell them about my experience. And I said, hey, why do I keep seeing purple energy around me? And they said, take our psychic development course. Okay. So I'm in a class of 5 people doing all these exercises. And by the 3rd week, they asked me to teach it. And I thought, I don't know. I'm in your class. And so then they said, sat me down with someone, give a reading. I don't know what a reading is. And then all of a sudden something happened. Yeah. And I gave a reading. And then I was, booked at a psychic fair to give readings. And every single time I'm like, I don't even know. And boom, it came through. And so within like a month of doing this, I had a full schedule of healing clients and sessions. I was working with people from all walks of life. I met someone who wanted to help promote and partner up and help share my work. And all of a sudden, I'm doing this thing and I really don't even know what I'm doing. And I only know what I'm doing because I've watched what I do and I've observed and I've learned from what people have told me and I've kind of pieced it all together. Just like when I used to do healing sessions one-on-one, I think I've done around honestly 12,000 healing sessions, which is astonishing. And every healing session, I would listen to what I would say through me and I would listen to what they would say. And that's how I learned about the other spiritual path was by piecing it together for 12 years. So it's been a rather mysterious journey, but it's been one where I've been educated only by my direct experiences. I don't read a lot. I write, I channel, and I like to keep it pure because I want it to come through me the way it comes through me. And I kind of have this weird, funny rule, like if certain people use words, like Eckhart Tolle uses present moment, I won't use that a lot because that's his. And I want to respect that and just kind of have my own authentic channel. And that's something that I think is just a really key thing to what I want to do is just always be true to what wants to come through me. And what always wants to come through me is often the most loving things, which I'm grateful for.